Deb Pepler and Wendy Craig studied gender differences in the aggression of children using naturalistic observation. The children, ages 6 to 12, were observed on the playground at school. The researchers obtained permission from the children's parents to use a concealed video camera and attach tiny microphones to the children's clothing to record aggressive behavior used during recess, as well as to record the number of times aggressive behavior occurred. In this way, data were gathered without the observers being physically present, which might keep children from behaving the way they normally do. Pepler and Craig found that boys and girls were equally aggressive. Whereas boys used more physical aggression in peer interactions, girls used more verbal aggression. In laboratory observation, researchers observe and record behavior in a lab setting. Although research participants are in the laboratory, researchers do not make any attempts to change their behavior. They simply observe and record it. The main advantage of laboratory observation is that it allows researchers more control than they have in naturalistic studies. They can use sophisticated equipment, determine how many people will be observed at once, and set up situations that make behavior easier to observe. Wolfgang Köhler used laboratory observation to study how chimpanzees solve problems. Specifically, he studied if chimpanzees were capable of insight. Insight occurs whenever people who are stumped with a problem relax the way they approach a problem, reframe it, switch strategies, remove a mental block, or identify an analogy from a prior experience. To answer this question, Köhler devised a series of problems for the chimps that involved obtaining food that was out of reach. For instance, Köhler put bananas and a long stick outside the chimp's cage, both out of reach, and put a short stick inside the cage with the chimp. Then he observed whether the chimp was able to figure out how to get the bananas. See if you can spot the chimp's moment of insight in this video. A developmental psychologist might study school children using a combination of naturalistic and laboratory observations. For example, Diana Baumrind studied parenting styles using interviews and observation in the nursery school, home, and the laboratory. Trained observers recorded children's behaviors in nursery school. Another investigator interviewed the parents separately and then together about their child-rearing practices and beliefs. The investigator also observed interactions in both the home and the laboratory. Based on these observations, Baumrind found that 77% of the families studied fit into one of three parenting styles: authoritarian, authoritative, and permissive. Parents who adopt an authoritarian style are controlling, punitive, and rigid. Parents who adopt a permissive style provide inconsistent, lax feedback. Parents who are authoritative are firm, setting consistent limits. Children of authoritative parents do best, generally resulting in being independent, friendly, self-assertive, and cooperative.